Here we are today presenting the equipment that you can take on your backpacking trip. So, underwear, how many?
3 pairs of underwear.
And by the way, these are not the good ones. These are the ones that make your butt with...
Yes, that's why they're in there, so
Okay.
I can swap them out and throw them away.
Ah.
Okay, that was my fiance saying, how hard can it be to make a YouTube video? Okay, welcome to the channel after that little bit of fun. What I was going to go through today was what I take on a 6-day trek. So this is everything I've built up over the years. I don't expect people to go out and buy the exact same equipment, and that's silly anyway, because once you start getting into backpacking, you start realizing what you like using, and that's different for every person. I'll start off and we'll go through some bits and bobs and some tips on it as well. This is a Deuter Airlight Contact 45 litre. It's actually a women's one. As you can see, I'm not that tall and I'm quite slim, so I do not need a male version of it, and this one actually fitted me better. It's quite heavy. You'll get into the ultralight videos and things like that from other people who've put things on the internet, and they'll go to ultralight and their rucksacks weigh 500 grams and fall apart in 2 minutes. I actually had, whilst I was running the Marathon des Sables, I had a rucksack fall apart on me, and it was an ultralight one. And Andy McMenery will be laughing at the moment because he remembers me trying to sew it together in the evenings after doing marathons in the Sahara. Wasn't particularly fun. Anyway, so this one is a bit more heavy. It's around 1,400. It's actually less than that because I've cut off excess things that I don't need, so it's about 1,200 grams at the moment. Has pockets everywhere. It has a back system in it and a frame in it. It is literally bomb-proof, and it's one of the most comfortable rucksacks I've ever used in my life. Hence why I'm gonna recommend something more bomb-proof than an ultralight rucksack. It's my personal preference. Ultralight rucksacks are fantastic. They don't last as long. They're not as comfortable. They don't have all the padding in because they take that out as the weight for them. So that's the rucksack. It's got everything I need on it and probably a lot more. I'll put that down. Now, do the big four first. So, rucksack, tent, sleeping pad, sleeping bag. That's your big four. So, I'm using an MSR Hubba NX 1-person tent. This is the inner part of it. It is a fantastic tent. Incredible, incredible tent. I also use this is the outer. I pack separately so it can stay on the outside of my rucksack. That means when it's wet or it's got condensation or anything, it will dry out over the day because it's outside getting the air. Also, it doesn't get the inner wet. So I know I've always got nice dry inner. Because it's an expensive tent and all of my equipment I love looking after, this is a footprint for the tent. Weighs a little bit extra than a basic tent, and you can get away with leaving it at home. I recommend using one. They're not that heavy. They protect your tent, and it's just good practice. Along with that, I always pack the pegs, which are just groundhogs. I think MSR groundhogs. Minimum amount required to set up my tent even in windy conditions, and I never scrimp on them. And I pack the tent poles separate on the outside of my rucksack so I can get to it easily and it doesn't interfere. These are also quite sharp and stuff, so some of the sensitive equipment or putting a hole in my rain jacket doesn't happen. So I pack them on the outside as well as the tent pegs. So that's my rucksack, my tent done. My sleeping bag, I was lucky years and years ago to get a deal on a PhD Minimus. Now this is 770 grams, is rated down at about -4 degrees. Yeah, quite an expensive sleeping bag though. Don't expect you to start off with that. But once a sleeping bag and you look after it, it'll last you a very long time. My sleeping pad is last in the big four. This is a Sea to Summit ultralight self-inflating, an SI matte. The reason why I like them is I pack that on the outside of my equipment as well. I don't like blowing up things, and I'm really nervous about getting punctures, and some of the places I've camped in the past have caused punctures on other people's inflatable mats, the bigger kind of 2.5, 3 inch thick ones that look like a lilo. This one is actually a little bit tougher. It's only about 380 grams, I think. It's a short, extra short version. I always put my head on my rucksack when I sleep, so I don't need it that long, plus I'm not that tall. But I'm really nervous about getting punctures. If this punctures, at least there's still something to lay on. It might crush a bit, but there's something to lay on until I can repair it or get to a shop and get another one. Hence using safer inflating ones and not the actual inflatable ones. So that's my big four. Then it comes down to what equipment you kind of need and use and stuff, and what you'd like to see in the backpack. So this is my rain jacket. It is a higher state something or other. I bought it for about 20 euros on a massive sale. It's only 10,000 millimeters waterproof, which is not brilliant, but it's all right. I'm using this at the moment because it's cheap and it seems to work. I'll do another video on waterproof jackets and waterproof trousers. They all wet out after a while. It's down to personal preference. Again, whatever you like, take with you. I have a good pair of Berghaus Gore-Tex trousers though, which I take. I've had them quite a while. They're just amazing set of trousers. Quite lightweight, do the job. I also take a woolen hat for in the evenings. It gets a bit colder. Put a hat on. I don't use a hat during the day usually, unless it's very cold outside, so that's just for the evenings. This is a good tip. I use neoprene gloves. Now, because the rain jackets, the waterproofs and everything else wet out, I use neoprene gloves because they're going to keep you warm when they're wet anyway. So it's a good tip. I actually got that off my brother who worked at Royal Marine's pool, so he was quite experienced in it and they used neoprene gloves. I have a spare pair of trousers for the evening, just long ones, or if it's a cold day walking, I just want something baggy to chuck over my shorts. That's a pair of longer trousers. This, believe it or not, is 6 days worth of food. I'll make another video on the 6 days worth of food, how I break it down, what I take with me, and I'll show you how to separate it. It is actually separated in bags inside this bag into separate days, so I know which one to put at the top, so I can access it easy in my rucksack. Next thing we've got, first aid kit. It's another absolute essential. I have zinc oxide tape, Vaseline, I have headache tablets, I have a foil blanket in there, absolutely everything for an emergency. It's packed down. I do not scrimp on a first aid kit. Please don't scrimp on one. Make sure you know how to use all the bits in there. If you don't know how to use them, either learn or cut that down, but don't scrimp on your first aid kit. In here, I have my cooker, my gas, my spork and my knife. I also have a cleaning bit of equipment for my cooking stuff, and I have 2 mini bit lighters. One goes wrong, I've got a spare. That's just in there. On the cooking stoves, I've already done a video about how much gas you need to take with you. You'll see my cooking stove in there. It's a BRS 3000T, highly recommend it. Then 3 pairs of socks, any old socks, personal preference, you choose what you like. 3 pairs of pants, like my fiance was saying, they're not the correct ones, but it's underpants, who cares? And then I've got a warm top for the evening, so usually I'm running or hiking very hard during the days. I get a bit sweaty, I hang that up in the inside of the tent to dry overnight, and I take a warm top just to chuck on in the evening so that I know it's dry and I can sleep in, usually with my long trousers. On here we also have a head torch, always an important bit of kit. I have a small survival knife. It's actually a climbing rope knife, weighs next to nothing. It's by Petzl, it's a Petzl spather. I think it's about 35-40 grams or something, it literally weighs nothing, and it will cut through a climbing rope quite easily. I use it just in case, opening packets of food. I've got a little knife with me just in case I need to do any repairs, and for cutting the zinc oxide tape for my feet so I don't get blisters. That's a good bit of kit. In here is my wash kit, which is very small. Super lightweight dry towel in here. I'll actually go through this one with you just so you can see. I have Wild Wash from Sea to Summit, I believe. Yeah. That lasts, and I've actually done a test on it, that little bottle lasts about 6 days with all your washing up, with washing yourself, and with, if you have to, washing your clothes as well. Then I have a Jordan ultralight toothbrush, which I must have gone mad on Amazon or on other websites trying to find out the world's lightest toothbrush. I went slowly crazy. It weighs 9 grams, which is insane. It's a full-size toothbrush. I don't like putting my fingers in my mouth when I'm outside and outside for days. And a tiny little travel toothpaste. We also have a Sea to Summit ultralight dry towel. These are very, very thin, very lightweight, and is exactly what you need for a shower if you ever get to a campsite or if you get to a lake or a loch or something like that. Dry yourself off with one of them, more than enough. What I do is in the tent I have a little bit of string going across and my top from the day, and my towel hangs over that at night just to dry them out a bit. Also in here we have a poop shovel. This weighs about 11 grams, I think. There's certain things I hate on the trails and certain things I love. I love the meeting people, getting outside and fresh air and stuff. I hate seeing toilet roll and people who haven't dug a little hole. Just dig a little hole, do your business in there, cover it back up. The animals can't get it, doesn't annoy anyone, especially me. And this weighs like 11 or 13 grams or something and costs you nothing, like literally nothing. Please take one with you. Well worth it. And I always keep it in a little, well, it's actually a glasses pouch, but it stops the dirt from after you've dug your little hole, stops the dirt going over the rest of your stuff. Also, some tissues for same reason. And what else have we got? A little microfiber cloth, like a little face cloth. It's a tiny little microfiber cloth, and that is for wiping the condensation down on the inside of my tent, just in case I get any condensation. What else have we got? We have in here, I won't go through this. This is my camera batteries. I'm always videoing and I'm always outside doing stuff. So I have camera batteries, I have drone batteries, and I have cables and a power bank just in case to charge everything up in there. I won't go through that at the moment. In here is my drone, pretty good one. It's a DJI Neo. It weighs about 150 grams or something and does 4K video. Pretty big kit. Not having to worry about too much video with that. Here is my DJI Osmo Action 4 to carry with us. And that's my stand that drops out and pulls up to about 1.5 meters, I think. And that's quite stable. I've never had a problem with it. If it wobbles in the wind, I just put some rocks on it. Does the job. And that stays on the outside with my tent poles. And lastly, and most importantly, a compass and a map. Usually the maps are the areas where I'm going, and my compass. What I actually do with my compass, and I've cut it off just for these videos, is I sew it to the inside pocket on my waist belt. And I know it's always there, so I can always get it. Plus, if it's sewn into it, the string I sew into it, I can never lose it if I've just got an open pouch or something like that. And no, I'm never going to lose that. That's important. Yeah, that's all the equipment I take for like a 6-day hike. If there's any questions or any comments on stuff, put them in the descriptions below, and I'll put some links to the equipment as people require them. Thanks for watching. Okay, that's everything packed into my pack. As you can see, all fits. What I forgot to mention was water bottles. I have water bottle holders on both straps, and I use the water bottles from there so I don't have to keep messing about, putting my pack down, reaching awkwardly behind me and things. The pack in total, this pack with the 6 days worth of food without water, weighs about 11.5 kilos. You can go slightly more or less weight than that, but this is a fairly good solid setup for your camping trips.